What's up, folks? Oh my God, my ears are so loud right now. We don't have a sound man right now. Hold on, guys. I gotta turn down. Is yours real loud? We shouldn't need it unless somebody calls in.
Yeah, it's a little loud. Yeah, that's why I'm not wearing them. We don't really.
Is that better?
Yeah.
All right. What's going on, people? How's everybody doing? John, I see your comment. I know you're going to see this later. You really got to get your priorities straight. Taking your wife out over
You better take your wife
Free
out.
for All Friday.
Better show her a real good time, John. It's her birthday.
Yeah, show her a good time.
I didn't mean like that. Oh, man. All right.
I can't read this.
We got lots of people here, but no one's commenting. Dooley,
Hey, folks, if you're here, go ahead and say hello in the comments. We'd appreciate that. Let me adjust my mic a little bit. It's all on my face.
Oh,
I'm new. I don't know what to do. What just happened? I didn't do anything. Oh, God. There we go. Dooley, how are you, man? Dooley, are you, I know for a while there you were out of the country. Are you back in the States?
He's in Florida. Charles is here.
Yeah, he's in Florida now, right?
Yeah.
I can't keep up with everybody all the time, baby.
Well,
I'm trying. I'm always like 3 years behind. Charles, good to see you, man. Pete Thomas? What's going on, Pete? How are you? Let's see.
We do not simulcast and...
No, we don't do Twitch. I don't even know how to do Twitch. I'm lucky to get on, be able to pull this off at YouTube and Facebook simultaneously. I probably should do Twitch. I heard the kids talk about Twitch. I just thought they were talking about like twitching.
Just stop.
Andrew, how are you?
Yep, he's in Florida. See?
Nice.
I keep
What
up
did
with
Andrew
people.
say? I read slow,
Sorry.
babe. I read slow.
Well, read faster.
Oh, thanks,
You're doing
Andrew.
a brilliant job.
If anybody knows how to get on Twitch, send me directions. Send me some instructions. I don't know why our video keeps clicking out. It's almost like a connection issue. He keeps coming back. Bear with us. Willie, what's going on, man? Who else we got up here?
Dan.
Dan.
Dan from Canada.
Hello from Canada. Dan, is this your first time on the live stream? It's great to have you here from Canada. I'm pretty sure your Prime Minister is going to be very upset with you even associating yourself electronically with us.
Oh, I'm a little jealous.
Headed to Europe in a few weeks. Where are you going to Europe, Billy? You don't have to tell us. I'm sure it's operational security. I have my wife watching.
Yeah, you guys need to come hang out. That'd be awesome.
Dilly, we got a guest bedroom for you guys. We'd love to have you over and we'll eat some food, lift some weights, and go shoot some guns. Let's see. Yeah, Charles, I'm glad you're here, man. I'm glad you're able to make it. I need you to start scheduling your priorities also a little better. Making sure you're here on Friday, Germany, and so on.
Yeah.
Nice.
Andrew's from the Wales, UK.
Andrew from Wales. Awesome. I am looking forward to, there is a gentleman, and it might be Andrew for all I know. I don't know his real name. The Cornish Viking. And it may very be Andrew because I know he's also in Wales, I believe. But anyways, we're going to have a guest on next week. That's tentatively that we're going to have him on next week. And I'd love to talk a little bit more about the gun culture in the UK and Europe in general. And I think it's really interesting, the differences, right? From a kind of a liberty perspective, but also to, in Europe, suppressors aren't a big hassle to buy. You can pretty much go to the local Walmart there and get it. It's pretty much like Alaska. Yeah, you don't need any like super additional forms. You go to, as far as I understand, you just go to a gun shop and you can pick up a suppressor. Correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew. Drop some comments on that. Of course, you're gonna completely ruin my show for next week, but that's fine. Who else we got up here? Nate, I thought I was shooting blanks for the past few years, and now I have a fifth kid on the way. I also have a vasectomy this. Yeah. Well, thank you. This is a free for all Friday.
Shooting.
It is about shooting. All topics are not. They're all on the table. I love it.
Within reason.
Yeah, Charles, we'd love to have you out for a long range course. We're getting ready to do that tomorrow. We got several more hours of preparation for that. So I'm really excited about cleaning up the trailer and getting everything set up so that we have a
Why is our camera out of focus?
It's trying to focus on your face.
It's not doing a very good job.
No, I know.
That $400 camera, really.
I know. I gotta up my game. I need a Sony FX3.
No.
Dean, what's going on, buddy? Long time no see. Dean, you got to get up here pretty soon,
That's
man.
what I've been telling him. He's always commenting on my...
Dean, you know you can just show up at our doorstep, and you are always welcome, my friend.
He's always commenting on my cooking pictures on Facebook.
Yep.
Keep telling him to head up for dinner.
And going for firearms, it takes 18 months to get the police just to come to see if you can have them.
Wow. Just to come see if you can have them.
Got to get the Queen's approval.
Wow.
I'm sorry, Andrew. That was a cheap shot. Steve, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Oh, man. Benny Ballistics up.
Benny Ballistics, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Hope you're well.
Just FYI, guys, I'm having trouble talking today, forming cohesive sentences.
You're just self-aware today.
Oh.
What else? What else we got in here? All right, so let's jump right into this, and again, you guys can throw up some questions about anything that all throughout this. Tomorrow we got our long range course.
First one of the year.
First one of the year. I'm really excited about this. It's also the first one at PNTC that we've had in 5-6 years, something like that. Peacemaker National Training Center. They have one of the best long range facilities. They have one range that's kind of offsite. It's called Frontier. I know we used to be able to go out to 1,400, but besides the distance, just the terrain that you shoot over and things like that it's pretty unique and remarkable. So they're under new ownership. That's why we haven't been there for the last several years. We had the owner wasn't a good person. We'll just put it that way. And anyways, so we haven't been back out there, but I'm excited about getting back out there. It is one of the best long range facilities in the U.S. period. Definitely, and it's nice that it's literally 15 minutes from my house. Mm-hmm. The other place that we were going for a while, we're doing a long range courses. The distance was limited to 800. It was still a great facility, all that other good stuff. But anyways, it wasn't quite. We're shooting over open terrain over like probably about a 30 or 40 degree, and you're shooting through
At Peacemaker.
At Peacemaker, yeah. You got a 30 or 40 degree kind of range fan there, and it's just really cool to shoot. Again, you're shooting at not only different distances but also different elevations, and there's a lot of wind there. It can be because it's kind of you're shooting over a valley, and not really over a valley, but more of a draw and onto some ridgeline areas, and it's just super unique. And I'll tell you, it really does help people learn how to read and adjust for wind. So that's the only way that you're going to do it, right? You got to get out there and fight the wind a little bit, because that is the one variable that is almost impossible to calculate exactly, and a lot of it ends up being just enough rounds to where you get you can just read that wind intuitively, and that is the one part of, I don't care how smart you are, you can learn long range in a day, but mastering the wind is one of those things that can take a lifetime. Eric, what's going on, man? How you doing, buddy? Eric, good to see you, man. He was my squad leader at 101st.
Oh, wow. That was way back in the day.
Mm-hmm. That was BS, before summer. 100 AD. Good to see you, Eric. Hey, Eric, if you're ever out on the East Coast, man, over in the DC area, hit me up for sure. What else we got here?
Daryl's here. Daryl said hello. Pete Thomas says, "What are your thoughts on Canik?" See, I don't even
Should
know
we
how to
not be
say
buying from that country? Well, Pete, we buy from China, right? And everything that's going on in Ukraine.
Where's Canik made?
I believe it's actually made in either Ukraine or Russia. I'm not sure. It's over there in the eastern. It's over there in the commies. Commies make it. That I do know. Our camera is struggling to focus tonight. I don't know why. Focus, camera.
Everybody's struggling. I can't talk. I can't focus.
Yeah, Pete Canic have been increasingly popular for good reason. They're great guns. The other one I'm a big fan of is kind of along those lines of CZ. I think CZs are super underrated guns, but Canics are great. I've only shot a few of them. I don't own any. It's one of the few brands that I don't own. Maybe I need to change that just so I can check that box right back. Need one of those in the. Thinking of a trip to the U.S. to do a course on firearms. Can you use the rifles or do you need a license? No, Andrew. If you're here legally, you can use rifles. Let me double check on.
Don't you need a hunting license?
I think you need a. Yeah, you think you're right. I think you're right. I think someone's correct.
I usually am.
Well, even a blind squirrel, Anyways, I do think we have to get you like a hunting license or something like that.
Yeah. Willie said it's Turkey. Anyway, sorry.
Turkey. Yeah, I was just in Turkey. Nothing wrong with. I don't know. Nothing wrong with. There are kind of our frenemies. Ideologically, we're a little bit kind of different. But I will tell you, Turks, they love Americans. We went there and just had a great time. I was working there for a while. How long was I there? 2 weeks.
Oh. No, yeah, Turkey was 2 weeks.
2 weeks. I was in Istanbul for a week.
Jordan. It was 6 weeks.
It's all the same. Jordan, Turkey.
Right. It's all the same.
I was in Istanbul for a week and then in Ankara for a week. And it was very nice. Nice people, good food. Istanbul has been on my bucket list for a long time, and to get to go there and to go see the Hagia Sophia was really cool. Only spent a few hours there. I wish I had a chance to go down to Göbekli Tepe. If you guys don't know what Göbekli Tepe is, you need to look that up and educate yourselves a little bit because it's a cool place. And that is on one of my number one bucket lists. I'm all about the ancient ruins that the aliens made for sure. So
Jackson wants to go over visit the Dead Sea.
Dead Sea, yeah, he wants to go to the Dead Sea, yeah. Dead Sea
was on his bucket list for some reason.
I'll tell you, everybody talks about the Dead Sea and how you float. I was not prepared for what that was really about because not only do you float, but it's like you can't put your feet down. Like it's not just floating; it's like you're laying on the water. It's the craziest experience I've ever had. It was actually a lot weirder, and then it almost feels like you're in oil. The water has a very thick viscosity to it. It's just obviously it's just all salt, but there's just salt rocks everywhere and just salt grime.
It doesn't feel that refreshing, probably then, huh? That doesn't sound refreshing.
It's different.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you definitely feel like the salt. You get out and the water starts to dry, and you feel the salt crystals on your body. You got to rub them off, and yeah. Anyways, we're talking about Turkey. That was weird.
Sorry.
No, that's good.
We're educating the people on the Dead Sea.
I think we're just talking to ourselves. But earlier the camera was just clicking out. You broke my camera. Mm-hmm. I think I messed up the focus. I was messing with it earlier. Probably change the focus or something. Yeah. So, anyways, long range courses. I definitely suggest you guys come out here. Regardless of where we're training at, it's going to be an experience that you will not forget.
Come back to that.
And we would love to have you out. And you know what? I love long range because anybody can do it, right? We're just laying there and shooting. So, if you're not that able-bodied anymore, maybe you're a little more mature, or just don't want to run around and play a G.I. Joe for the day, you can lay there or sit on a bench and do something that's really, really fun and gratifying. It's pretty gratifying when you're hitting steel, at 1,000 plus. So honestly, even hitting steel at 400 or 500 if you've never done that before. So that's definitely a gateway drug into firearms. Yeah. So it's just a lot of fun. I really like the technical side of it. All the gear you use. If you guys haven't figured out, I'm a total gear geek to begin with. So all the different accoutrements that go with it is a lot of fun to learn as well. Everything from chronographs to the kestrels to spotting scopes on the guns themselves, the ammo. This is just a lot of fun.
Never mind.
Well, you got to get out to a long range course.
I know.
Somewhere
If I wasn't always working.
I know. We should do that.
I would like to go out to a long range course.
What is a good drop leg holster? Safari, some of the ALS Safaris are some pretty good drop leg holsters. I tend to not like drop leg holsters. I like one that basically I have what they call the optimal drop from G Code, but a lot of companies make them where it basically has a 3-inch drop off of your waist. So it drops down a little bit, but it's not attached to your leg. There are definitely situations if you're doing a lot of run and gun stuff. And again, when I was still in special operations, we would run either drop legs. Honestly, most of the time I ran a chest rig because you just want that gun more secure. That brings me to a thought I had the other day. Holsters, and I know this is going to be kind of random for many of you. It's so funny that Serpa holsters, for instance, Serpa holsters have kind of this bad reputation. Folks, everybody in special operations was running Serpa holsters all throughout. Let's see, I ran a Serpa holster for about 6 years. And I'll tell you right now, I've never seen anybody have an AD with a Serpa holster. This is one of the very few situations that somehow people have gotten away with blaming their gear for bad, I don't know, training, bad, whatever else. Here's what we know. We know that holsters are inherently dangerous, and they, in the fact that we have a lot of negligent discharges with holsters. There's nothing on that Serpa holster that would, if used properly, just like any other holster, that would lead to an AD. The paddle switch on that thing is you have to engage that with your finger flat and straight. And if you hit it and come straight out, all you're doing is indexing that finger along the slide. I just saw something on YouTube the other day talking about Serpa holsters, and it irritates the living crap out of me that somebody's going to get away with blaming gear for negligent discharges and just bad gun safety, period. You're hooking that trigger. If you're doing this, hitting the button and coming out, and then you're continuing to push and then grab that trigger. Never seen thousands of guys shoot thousands of rounds off training, through deployments, through high stress events. Almost all of them running Serpa holsters. Never saw an issue. And yet there's a couple of yahoos on the internet. They blame it on the holster. But you know what? You can find just as many videos of people doing negligent discharges, either reholstering or unholstering the same, that it's not in a Serpa holster, and they didn't get away with blaming their gear. All right, rant over. Next thing. What else we got over here?
Andrew's asking, how would you go about getting hunting license? Well, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
About that. I know we've had clients that we know of that have gotten.
Yeah, we had a client that came from Sweden.
Yeah.
Sweden all the time. Super good guy.
He had a hunting license.
He would get a hunting license and then come do private training with us. He had a great time. I know it's not that hard, Andrew. I would Google that, and then worst case scenario, you can call Fish and Game. I don't even know who you would call, to be honest with you. But yeah, call a forest ranger. I think that's who you call.
Call Smokey the Bear.
Call Smokey the Bear. He'll have you put out the fire, and he'll get your hunting license, and you can
ask Google. I
get
guess.
A bear tag and just take him home with you. Good luck with the long range courses this weekend. But songs got selected. I'm
pretty sure he meant son.
Oh yeah. But if your song got selected, congratulations to them as well, because that's also important. What else we got? So someone like me that does PRS wants to come and shoot a part 2 course. Yes, absolutely. So, even with, I don't care whether a pistol or I got a video on this. You can check it out real quick. But my philosophy is simply this: when we're going to get into high, dynamic movements with firearms, it is absolutely irresponsible of me not to vet somebody. I've had, when I first started this business, like a lot of companies, they would say, hey, if you took this course, you took this course. Well, guess what? Gary Melton didn't see it, and I have a responsibility to myself. Now, here's the other thing.
And our instructors.
For their safety. Because let me tell you something. The worst people I've ever show up to a course are guys that think they're good shooters. Just flat out when it comes to safety and everything else, and telling me this long list of people they've trained with, the absolute worst when it comes to safety, and quite frankly, honestly, most of the time, the worst shooters. With that being said, what we do every single time is, I have grandmaster level shooters come to our pistol courses and everything else. We push them individually. So you're not going to get, no matter what level of experience or skill set that you have at one of our courses, you're going to get pushed individually. You're going to grow and you're going to learn. We're going to coach you. We have enough. There's been a couple times where an instructor got sick or something like that, but we never exceed 1 to 5. That's our goal. And it's usually more like 1 to 3 per student, one instructor per 3 or 4 students. So you're going to get pushed individually. So yes, I have a responsibility to our clients, but most importantly, you can't get too good at the basics. And as a matter of fact, high performance shooting is nothing more than taking basic elements, very fundamentals, and applying them together in a string as quickly as possible under stress, right? So it's just applying the basics.
And we've never had anyone that didn't want to come to a level 1 course, but they finally gave in and came to the level 1 so that they could do the more advanced courses that they wanted. Not one of them has ever won Top Gun at that level 1 course that they didn't want to come to.
We've had clients bitch and moan that they got to come to, that they're too good essentially to come to a level 1 course, and not one person ever in that category has won Top Gun. So, and here's the other thing. We have really good shooters in our clientele that win Top Gun very often, that continue to come to every single level one that we have.
Again and again.
Again and again and again. And guess what? They have a fun every single time. We change up the course curriculum quite a bit around the edges, maintain the same objectives, change up different drills and things like that. We're constantly challenging people. And that's why we have the alumni discount. You get 50% off of every course. So if you come to a level 1 and you want to go to that level 1 again, we give it to you for 50% off, because we want you to come back over and over and over again. And we have clients that have been to a level 1 course, whether it's pistol, rifle, or long range, 7, 8, 9, 10 times.
Yeah.
And they get something out of it every single time.
They never walk away unhappy.
Yep.
Never.
So there's my philosophy on that. What else we got?
Dan just says G-code for the win.
Yep. Yeah, G-code is good. Right. The problem with G-code is they take usually 6 to 8 weeks to get your freaking holster.
That was pre-COVID too.
Yeah, that was pre-COVID.
so
it's probably 2 years or something like that.
Rob S.
Absolutely, Rob. Again, and a lot of my clients that have dealt with me over the years that have asked for recommendations know that I'm a pretty big optics snob, right? Every time that so, you guys see, a lot of you people that are showing up because of YouTube, you guys see me testing stuff on YouTube. I've been doing that for years. Been doing the exact same thing for years. I just didn't include a camera. I test gear constantly, and I just did it because number one, as being in the industry, we need to stay up with what's new. I get people throwing new, like, Gary, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think? I don't know. I've never seen that. I never heard that before. So there's that. But then on the other part of that is, the only reason that we started doing any retail stuff was literally because when we first started this business, 90% of the questions, emails, and things that I got, calls, texts, whatever it was all about gear. Gary, hey, what do you think? What do you recommend for a holster? What do you recommend for this? What do you recommend for this? So what I started doing to kind of save myself some time was literally making sure that I'm testing gear. And then once I test it and expose our instructors to it that have the same backgrounds as me, and we come to generally a consensus of hey, this is a quality piece of gear. Sometimes it's, myself or other instructors yeah, it's a really good piece of gear. I don't like it for X, Y, and Z, but it is quality. It's a high performing, there's just personal preference issues there. But it is a quality piece of gear that we know that we can recommend to our military and law enforcement clients. So anything that we test or anything that's on our website, those things have been tested. Unless it's something a little bit more generic. There's a couple items that I've used, and it's not one of those things you're going to bet your life on. I can't think. I don't like gun cleaning gear, right? So,
But that's what you.
But we always use that. But that was just kind of.
It's not like you went around and tested every freaking.
And honestly, that's what I started doing too. Is just all the stuff that I've been using over the year that I've tested. Gun cleaning gear is actually probably the worst example now that I think about it, because I've constantly. try different gun cleaners.
Yeah.
I always go back to Vortec, man. The stuff is just quality. It works. It cleans better. Their copper remover, unlike, I have some of this copper killer over here. You open the thing up, and I just was testing it earlier against their copper. Their copper remover, you don't smell it. I don't know if you can drink it or anything, but it's definitely not as hazardous. No.
You should try that.
It's definitely not as hazardous as some of the ammonia-based stuff, and it's not as hard on your guns. Their copper cleaner, they actually say, when you're done, you can wet a patch and push it through and just leave that as a barrel preservative. Whereas if you use copper killer, the stuff I used to use, that thing will eat up your lands and grooves like nobody's business. So,
and that stuff will make you pass out if you smell it.
Yeah, it'll perm your nose hairs forever. It'll come out curly for the rest of your life.
Andrew said in the UK you can only have a long barrel handgun and it's got to be 24 inches long.
Jesus.
That's what she said.
Well, I don't know who she is.
Yes, Pete. There are there's the closest hotel. It's actually nice and clean. It's about 7.5 miles away from where most of our classes take place.
Yeah, so I would say
there's also a nice campground.
Yeah, there's campgrounds, things like that. There's definitely nice hotels. Within the closest one is 20 minutes away, and then
not even that.
Yeah, 15 minutes, something like that. And then within 25, 30 minutes, there's other options as well. So I would say probably 50% of our clients are probably coming from 2 to 3 hours or more away. So we have that code cracked as far as that goes. We clearly need to work on the out-of-country stuff and make sure that we have some information for people that are coming from overseas that can get a hunting license. But we have plenty. Again, reach out to us, tell us what's going on. We'll shoot you some information of the nearest hotels. And I've yet to see where they haven't been able to get those booked. But we'll give you kind of a primary, alternate, contingency, and emergency pace plan for your hotels. Accommodations. We'll take care of you. What else?
Dan says, what's your opinion on a pencil barrel?
Pencil barrel, they're thin. They're light.
That's what I was thinking, but whatever.
That was actually Summer's nickname for me for a long time. No, so nothing. You just can't expect the...
My face is so red.
I know. Pencil barrel, it's going to be lighter.
Thank God the camera went out.
It's back. There's nothing wrong with that. Just you're not going to get the longevity out of that. But I know. Oh my God, it's embarrassing.
I'm sorry.
So I can't even think right now. They're a great option for a light rifle.
Oh, man.
So if you're looking for something for your wife, there's nothing wrong with getting a pencil barrel. If you're looking for something for you, you need to hit the gym, Dan. Freaking grow those arms a little bit. Hit the gym. Now, they're fine. Just don't expect the round count out of those that you're going to get out of them.
Yep, I agree.
100%. It is always, and it's not. And again, it comes down to semantics, but it's definitely negligence. Every time somebody shoots at a point in time that they don't want to, their freaking booger hook is on the boom boom switch.
When it shouldn't be.
Absolutely. You can run your hand loads and your guns all you want, buddy.
Oh, Chip's here.
And again, I promise you, bidding ballistics, you will have a good time in a long range or level 1. You will learn something on the classroom portion. I promise you. And you know what? The other part of that is whether it's our classes, whether it's YouTube or whatever else. Look, I want this to be a community where people share their knowledge too, because you know what? There's probably some things that you know that I don't. I got corrected today on the video that I posted about the Delta 5 Pro. Apparently, those front handguard are supposedly 65 inches. I asked them to point me to some reference so that I can give you guys, make sure that that's coming from Daniel Defense and not myth, lore, and fabrication on the internet. I'm sure he's probably right, but I will tell you, when I was untorquing those with the fat wrench over there, they came loose at about 48 inch-pounds. So either I got them loose from the factory, but I could easily see those more than handling 65 inch-pounds. Those are that whole handguard is extremely beefy, and those screws are very beefy too. So everything's really, really robust on that gun, and 45, I can tell you right now, right, that thing is super solid. He also said you're supposed to, I believe, do the front ones first and then the rear ones. I don't know if I agree. I don't know how that would make sense, because those are basically tapered screws, and if you're torquing them all down to 45 inch-pounds, they're all going to line up in the same spot, or 65 inch-pounds. So I don't know that shouldn't matter. But I can tell you right now that even the way that I did it, it's lined up perfectly. It's more than rigid enough, and it's not coming loose. But I do want I'll reach out to Dan on the fence, see if I can get some clarification, or if somebody can provide us some material on that, I'll post an addendum to that video, because I also found out today. Look, I love the Delta 5 Pro, folks. I definitely, if you were thinking about a rifle, there's no other rifle under $2,500. If that's your, there's no other rifle that I would point you to at the moment. We got some other test rifles coming from other companies, some new ones that are along that same category. Anyways, so we'll see how those turn out by very reputable companies.
You failed to tell the accountant.
Well, they've allocated them for us.
Oh, nice.
And we should get them sooner than most people. Anyways, so I'm
just giving you a hard time.
No, I know. So it's a great gun, but I did find a stupid design flaw in it today. I tried to shoot a video with holding the camera and just do it real quick, and it looked retarded, and I was actually trying to edit it, and I was getting sick. I'm not a vlogger, clearly, or a cameraman. I need it on tripod, or it's no good. What else? Chip, yeah, it's good to see you, man. I appreciate you showing up, Chip. It's always good to have you on.
Yeah, Rob was asking about the ARC, and he says he'd rather spend the money on the Delta 5 Pro and save a little on the optic till I know it's something I want to stick with.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you, Rob, that optic gives so much bang for the buck and so much value that it really is hard to justify spending more. The glass on it is good. Somebody did bring up a good point, and I'm going to add it to my future test criteria. He said he had a different brand scope. He's like, so, if one scope's $500, all other scopes $600 and are all the same. So, and I don't mean to belittle his comment a little bit. I'm just joking around with him, but not maliciously, I guess we'll say. Anyways, he's like, I have this scope. It's along the same lines and it's good until you get low light, and that is a fair criticism that I didn't test that in low light. So I do want to do that comparison. I'll tell you though, the clarity and what we did differently than most people is we actually did that color chart, right? So if you saw that video, and the clarity that you can see with that color chart right next to both, there was no major color shifts. The definition was all there. I don't see there being a big disparity between the two once we take that out to distance, or once we get to low. But you don't know until you try, and I'm definitely, that is going to be one of the test criteria for all of our definitive reviews for our optics going forward. So that was a great suggestion. Do you know much about Texas Silencer Co.? I'm waiting patiently I bought the Outrider. Well, what do we got right here? Hold on.
Did we go to Texas Silencer Co.?
No, not Texas Silencer Co. I don't know if they're made in Texas or whatever. What are they made in Texas?
That's the Omega, right?
Yeah, this is the Omega. I don't know about Texas Silencer Co., but I do. This is a Silencer Co. It's Omega. They're pretty good. We just became a dealer. We have our first order from
Thunderbeast.
I had a brain fart there for a second. Thinking about too many things.
We're also a Silencer Co. Powered dealer.
Silencer Shop.
Silencer Shop, sorry.
Yeah,
right.
Silencer
Shop powered dealer. So if you guys do any shopping on there, you can have it sent right to us.
Yeah, if you're a West Virginia resident, and we are a Class 3, so you can order through Silencer Shop, have it sent to us, and it helps us out too.
Yeah.
So,
and it's easy on your end too.
So it just depends. There's a couple of different suppressors that I own. Depends on what you're doing with them, right? So there's definitely some companies that really excel with like hard use suppressors, whether we're talking about kind of a different topic here, but I'll think of that in a second. Yeah. My brain's not working.
We need to get you some alpha.
I was up all night dealing with. I literally have slept for 15 minutes about 30 minutes ago. Since last night, I had some major issues posting that video. Anyways, we got into technical issues and went down to a rabbit hole of fixing my Rode podcaster where I process all my audio through, and then it wasn't even that. It was the software after I did a whole factory restart on that. And
for 3 hours.
4 hours. I spent every bit of 4 or 5 hours just trying to fix that. Anyways, point being is that there's definitely some suppressors that I recommend for ARs and hard use, and then there's suppressors that I recommend for long range and precision. Right. So Thunder Beast, without a doubt, is when it comes to long range precision, there's a reason they're the number one used in PRS total, but definitely by the top like 10 PRS guys almost always use Thunder Beast. The consistency on those, regardless of mount, is just remarkable. Now, they have come out with some hard use guns that I ordered, hard use suppressors that I've ordered that are trying to compete with some of the other brands out there. And I ordered those as demos, so we're going to do some testing on those. I also ordered their Fly 9, which is their pistol suppressor. That looks really interesting. So I believe the hard use one for the AR is called the Dominus. It's full auto rated. It's supposed to be pretty robust. Anyways, so we'll be getting that in. We'll be testing those out. It'd be nice to just have one suppressor company that kind of does it all, and I'm interested to see. They've been kind of leading the industry when it comes to precision suppressors for so long, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with some of the pistol and the kind of carbine suppressors as well.
Bending Ballistics said 45 max torque and stagger when you tighten them. There you go.
Are you asking me? So that was what we were talking about earlier. That's what I did, and I found that torque setting by using a torque wrench that limits torque in both directions. And this is what I do. If you haven't watched the video, folks, if you ever get to a gun or any other component, and you know that there is a specified torque setting for that, but you don't know what it is and you can't find it, what I always do is I get a torque wrench. I use the fat one over there. It's called a fully adjustable torque wrench. But that one will will give you torque limitation in either direction, loosening or tightening. So again, if I'm trying to find the torque setting on something, if I think it's around 50 or whatever, I might start at 25 and then go up in 5 inch-pound increments till it breaks, right? So if it breaks at like 48, 50, that's what I would expect to see from a fastener that has been torqued down to 45. Maybe if it's like 52 to even 55, it's probably a fastener that's been torqued down to 45-ish with some sort of Loctite or thread fastener. So that's how I came to that. I was told that the hand. What do we got here? It's at the ability of the shooter and the cartridge capable go to 1,000 and then 1,200, etc. I'm sure somebody.
I think he was replying to someone.
Yeah.
Personal goal of hitting 24-inch target at 1 mile. What are my odds with quality factory ammo?
So we talking about 308? Is that what that AR-10 is chambered in? If you want to do a mile, a 308 and an 18-inch barrel, man, you might get lucky, but you're not going to hit that thing with any consistency. The problem with that is that an 18-inch barrel, you're going transonic, probably around 700 or 800, which we start losing stability of the bullet itself. And then by 1,000 to 1,200, that thing is subsonic-ish on an 18-inch barrel. So while we could do some indirect fire and get a mile, there's no doubt about that. It'll go a mile. It'll never get there with any sort of consistency. So while that is a good goal to have, I would look at a different gun and something with a. If you want to hit it consistently, we could sit there and throw rounds at a target a mile all day long with that thing, and eventually we will hit it. But you're not gonna. If there was no wind at all, and all you're doing all is basic calculations, you'd probably be at about a 10 to 20% hit rate, just because that bullet at that distance and being subsonic at that distance is going to be completely unpredictable. There's no doubt about it.
Mossberg MVP precision thoughts.
So that is one that I plan on testing in the future. I haven't yet. I haven't got my hands on it. That is definitely on my short list of rifles to test. So I haven't touched it other than I've seen it. It looks pretty slick. We'll see what happens with that. What else you got? I can't read good. So far away.
Hold on. I guess Dan said Canada shooters are pushing courts for suppressors strictly for hearing protection.
Yeah,
they've been doing that in the U.S., but that hasn't worked so far.
They actually had I think it was called the Hearing Protection Act, where they were doing that. It's so silly. Anybody that knows anything about, these liberals.
Here we go.
They're like children. I mean, seriously, they just believe things because they see them in movies, and that's where they get this idea of a suppressor. Or somebody else
tells them that.
Or somebody, yeah. And that person saw it in a movie like, oh, God, I saw this guy. He can just, you can't even hear it. It's just like, and, killed a guy in the back of a car in a mob movie that I saw. So that's what they base their laws off of, and that's where their motivations come from, is fantasy. Delta 5.0 308 20-inch H pommel barrel. Pete, I got at least 3 308 guns. 308 is great. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. Just depends on what you want to do with it, man. And, ultimately, I think that is almost, on a 20-inch barrel with 308, it's almost a waste of that gun's capability. 6.5. I'm curious to why you may not want to go to 6.5. 6.5 does everything that 308 does. It just does it a lot better. The entire shape of that bullet is so drastically improved for its ballistics coefficients that it's just really hard to. I can't see myself buying another 308 gun.
Pete says he has one for you to try.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. So I don't know where you live, Pete, but come up and we'll shoot some videos, and test it out and put it through the ringer. I'm assuming we're talking about the MVP.
Yeah, no. He's the one who asked your thoughts on the Delta 5 Pro with the 20-inch barrel.
Yeah, I mean, 20-inch. That is a really good gun for law enforcement. Law enforcement, I don't see going to 308 at the moment. Again, I have a hard time going to 308 anymore, just because of. But is it absolutely a capable rifle? Will that rifle shoot out to 1,000 all day long? But at the end of the day, I don't see myself. I really think that 308 in the next 5 years is going to be like 30-06 is today. And I could be wrong, but again, there's less recoil. It's much more efficient bullet. It's easier to shoot. It's easier to spot your own trace. It's actually, right now 6.5 is a little hard to get, but it's actually becoming more prevalent. You can even pick that up in the stores before the kind of ammo scares kind of hit, more than you can 308. But Delta 5 Pro in any caliber is going to be great. And what's great about the gun is that you're also going to be able to get barrels. And if you've watched my disassembly video, you're going to be able to swap that barrel out very easily. And I'm looking forward to having a couple of those barrels on hand to swap out. You should be able to swap that thing out in 10, 15 minutes and have just a couple of $300 barrels, as opposed to having to spend $3,000 on a new rifle for a new caliber. So that is what is also great about the Delta 5 Pro. Viper tight on the gas block necessary. I have to look. I don't know that Viper-Tight is rated for that level of heat. Usually, when you're if you're going to, and I haven't done a gas block in a long time. It was like 2 years ago since I built the last gun. I don't remember if I put thread locker on them or not. So look at the manufacturer on that. Usually if you're going with something that high heat.
VC3, right?
What's that?
The one is the VC3, right? Vibertype VC3.
Yeah, I don't think it's that high temperature rated. Usually with that, you're going to be looking at Rockset or some of these other high temp rated thread lockers, and that's I don't think Vibertype's going to do that for you.
I just saw.
Summer's looking it up. She's googling it.
It says to 165 degrees. Well,
yeah,
that doesn't sound very high.
No, it's not high at all. You're talking probably over 1,000 at sometimes on the
just double
gas block.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of which, I would love going back to who sent the comment about the 308 Delta, Pete.
Oh yeah, Pete.
I would love to do a side by side. If you're close by, Pete, it'd be cool to kind of go over the pros and cons of 308 versus 6.5 and a shorter barrel versus that longer barrel, and the H palm being a little bit lighter than the varmint barrel that's on there. That would be a fun comparison.
Here's something really cool about the Vibertype VC3.
Yes, baby. Tell us all about it.
Well, I'm just saying you can actually install it underwater. Did you know that?
So, guys, if you're building a gun,
just stop.
My elbow, if I had to put Vibertype on it right now, it would be underwater. Holy
I don't know
crap.
why I try to help this man.
So if you guys are building a gun underwater and you're having to do fasteners underwater, Vibertype is also the #1 choice of Paramount Tactical. It is Green Beret approved for
Fresh
underwater
and
gun
salt water, it said.
Underwater gun building.
Hey.
That's good.
I'm just letting people
know.
The
more you know.
The more you know.
Knowing's half the battle.
You're such a jerk.
No, baby. I mean that.
You see this?
I love
this
it.
Is what
what else we got?
People.
We're falling behind here. I can't read it over all this small stuff. I need you to put it on the big screen.
He said, "Are you putting counterbalance weights on your?"
I haven't.
5 Pro?
No, I haven't so far. I may look at if Here's the thing. I would love to get out and do some PRS competitions. What we are going to do is I got a couple guys that are pretty deep into PRS competitions. We're going to start offering some entry to long-range competitive shooting courses. I would love to be able to do that more often, or be able to do that, period. I started this business with this idea that, I can do this as a business, and basically I can shoot for a living and go out and shoot all the time. Instead,
we're actually running a business.
We're running the business. And unfortunately, I just don't get the freedom to do some of the things. And hopefully, one of the things, for those you don't know, I still work for the U.S. government. I still do some, I'm actually been on leave for the last week, so I've been able to get some caught up on Paramount stuff.
Which is why you had to stay up all night last night.
Which is why I had to stay up all night last night. So anyways, we're very close to a point to where we would feel comfortable about going full time with Paramount, and that's definitely our goal, right? This is what I want to do. It's Summer's dream to support my dreams.
That's all I do. So I live my life supporting your dreams.
I would like to think that once we get to a point where we're doing full time, I'll have a little extra free time. I think that's probably along the lines of the same fantasy that I once had, but at the beginning of this. But so no, I haven't had a need for counterweights at the front of that thing. So, maybe I will. We'll see. Again, I'd like to get more into some PR stuff. Hey Gary, source on the posting video. I'm one of the engineers. Well, I think that pretty much covers it, Nick.
He also says he'll see if he can get those put on the Daniel Defense website on Monday. Well, I guess that's probably a reliable source.
You are a reliable source, Nick. Nick, I would love to have you if you're free. And I talked to I want to
say Paul. Was his name Paul?
Anyways, my POC at Daniel Defense, I'd sent some questions. I actually had that on the list of questions, and again, I shot him like 30 questions. He answered almost all of those. There was a couple just missing, I think got lost in the sauce. But one of the things I also would like to do, I'd love to have you on one of our live streams. So if you're available, man, I'd love to talk about that gun. I love that gun. I do have a bone to pick with you on one little design flaw that I found today. But beautiful gun, and that is, I would like to hear Well, I know you kind of explained it in your original thing, but I'm trying to wrap my mind around making sure that the front ones are tight. Maybe we'll talk offline on that. But I'd love to have you on to talk more about the design that went into that gun, because you guys did a phenomenal job, better than any other gun that I've seen so far. So there was lots of issues we had with the Savage 110 Elite.
Frank Whitaker.
Frank Whitaker. I was talking to Frank Whitaker. Good dude. So maybe we can, again, check with Day on Defense, see if you can come on a live stream and talk a little bit about it. But I'd love to have you on, and the viewers would love that too.
Uh-oh. What do you think about recessing the muzzle brake and the handguard? We have a video on
I
that.
think you're lucky you got all your digits. Yeah, so don't do that. Don't recess your muzzle brake. You know, I feel super guilty about that. You know, that could have went bad. And definitely one of the things I'm going to start doing with all our courses is make sure our instructors are going around and just checking people's guns. Because again, I know people don't know. You know, they build a gun or you know, add some parts or whatever else, and and we haven't in the past went and inspected every single gun.
But I feel like guys usually, our instructors are pretty good about catching any
we are
weird things.
We usually are. There's lots of things that we normally do catch, and that's kind of been the mindset, is that, you know, whenever we're zeroing, we always start off with any carbine course zeroing. We're usually right there with the student at some point in time with every student, you know, going over the fundamentals, talking about all those things. So yeah, I feel very bad about that.
Nick responded, says, sure, thanks for the compliments. We put a lot of work into it.
Absolutely, you did.
It's a nice rifle.
It's by far my favorite rifle right now, without a doubt. And you guys did an excellent job. I definitely got some more questions on that, Nick. We could definitely have a whole just a couple hour discussion talking about that. Gun nerding it up. I love it.
Maybe we can eventually get down to Daniel Defense next time we...
Why are scope manufacturers not selling rings with the scope and leaving the guesswork? Because, Dan, the problem with that is that different guns require different heights of scopes and everything else.
Rings.
So, different rings. Don't ever correct me on the live stream. Ever.
I love it. It brings me great joy.
Ever embarrassing me. You know, if you're putting on an AR, some of these other, you know, just depending on the shooter's needs, you may need a cantilever scope. Might want a quick detach scope. So there's as many options for rings,
Yeah.
and good reasons for those options as there are scopes. So that's why that would get them in more trouble than if they and the price it would go up, and then you'd end up getting this rings that you paid a couple $100 for on top of the price of the scope, and come to find out is not compatible with your rifle. You know, what's nice, going back to Day on Defense, is, you know, like on their handguard up front, which, hold on guys, I got something to show you. You got to see this. Their handguard up front, it allows you to put a very low mounted scope, which is really nice. You're going to need to move that. We got to get this up here. Okay. I wish I had my overhead camera. Grab the other end of this.
Oh, we're putting the whole box
I'm putting the whole case. People want to see it.
You just want to show off.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I didn't realize.
Look at this bougie
Oh my God.
abomination of a case right here.
Right?
You know, I don't know what color this is. I think it's just tacky khaki or something like that. But let me show you what we got in here. This was for the, of course, don't let my gun fall out onto the scope. No. All right. Hold it up, woman.
Oh my gosh.
But again, we got all our accessories. But don't worry about that little guy. We got all our accessories right there. And folks, if you don't have a good case, we are a retailer for this. We can help you design the case. But anyways,
Precision custom.
But while we have the gun here, I'm gonna put this back there.
Great idea.
Just want to show you guys this. The bolt is out and the barrel is clear. But as you can see right here, you usually can't get away with this low ring setup. But because we have this cutout here in the handguard itself, which was very well designed by Nick and his team, you can mount that scope a lot lower than you normally would on a lot of.
And this doesn't interfere with
Nope,
field of vision?
nope. It's going to burn right through it. You don't see that or anything like that. So it is. But that is why we don't want. The last thing I would ever want is them to include rings with whatever optic that I got going on. So hopefully that answers that. And I got to show off my new sweet case for my new sweet gun. I just want you to notice that everything matches. The case, the gun,
The Kestrel,
the
shooting bag,
the mount. There's also
the rangefinder.
There's also a pistol in there that matches as well, because you gotta have that.
Where?
Don't worry about it. It's underneath the bag. Don't you worry about that little guy. What else we got? I do want to talk about pistol red dots here in a few minutes. One of my next videos, we're going to be setting up 2 different pistols. There'll be 2 different videos. One, we'll be going through and setting up an M&P with a new Holosun 508 Tango. But I'm going to go through and show you guys, again, thinking about that pistol with the end in mind, right? What we're really looking for. So we're going to show you the sights, the iron sights, the backup sights, the co-witness sights that we're going to install on that. We're going to install the Holosun 508 Tango, which is a titanium, ruggedized, super good optic. And man, those things are so cheap. And they're every bit as good. There's so much testing been done on those as far as durability. For a long time, I was very hesitant to get anything other than a Trigicon, whether it be an SRO. So again, those Holosuns have come so far. They have a side loading battery. The entire thing's titanium. I think the whole unit's like $300 or something like that retail. You have different reticles to choose from. You can either go with a dot, a circle, or the circle with the dot in the middle. So they've come so far, and they're also they're also solar powered as well. I believe the 508 Tango is. I have to look at it again. I just had it out the other day. I was looking at all those, and also I want to show you the different the plates that you're going to need depending on the gun. I will say the gun that I purchased was a M&P, kind of a special edition one. It's actually pretty cool. I'll show you that. But it actually came with plastic mounting plates. I ordered some metal ones. I didn't like the way I kind of dry fit everything. I didn't like the way that those plastic ones overhang on the side. I'm sure you could kind of trim those down. I almost brought it over to the belt grinder. You guys know I'm all about the belt grinder. And trim those, but I was like, no, I'm just going to order the metal ones.
Custom.
So anyways, we're going to go over that. And then the other one will be a SIG 365 XL. Again, we'll go through that whole thing and talk about, and on the M&P, I'm going to switch out the trigger for an Apex. I think I got a video out there installing an Apex trigger. But if you have an M&P especially, I personally I have Glocks and M&Ps. I always go for my M&P is definitely my go-to. I personally like the M&Ps better than the Glocks. The problem with the M&P is they got a trash trigger. Those things come with an absolute horrific trigger.
Didn't they upgrade the trigger in the 2.0?
They did, but they're still garbage. It's better. It's still garbage. It went from mostly garbage to went from complete garbage to still mostly garbage. And not only that, flat triggers, folks. If you haven't tried a flat trigger in a pistol or even a rifle for that matter, I'm telling you, once you use a flat trigger, it's hard to go back. They are so much. There's so much going on with them. As far as you'll shoot better. There'll be less any sort of lateral deviation with your trigger pull. With the Apex, it actually has a shorter reset, so the trigger stroke is much shorter, so you can get on the gun a little bit faster. Glocks actually come with a really good trigger. You can get an Apex for them. As a matter of fact, we have a backlog of orders of Apex
for the Gen 5s.
Yeah. So you can get an Apex for a Glock. It is probably maybe like a 10 to 15% kind of upgrade, and really not one that most people would notice. Whereas the M&P, it makes it into a completely different pistol, in my opinion. But I love the ergonomics of the M&P. I like everything about the M&P. I like Glocks too. I prefer the M&P. So anyways, we'll do that build. That's gonna be fun. Yeah, and then we'll do that 365 XL, so that you guys. I know there's a lot of questions about all that goes into, or there should be. Some people just know and don't know, but there should be questions about all that goes into the thought process of putting a red dot on a gun. Obviously, the training portion of that, but also making sure you have co-witness sights. Electronic sights are super reliable today, but again, they're still electronic, they're still battery powered, they still will fail on you. You still need some co-witness sights. A lot of people are just out there rocking just the original non-co-witnessing sights that are absolutely, you can't do anything with if that sight goes down, and that's not a good answer. So
what about the 365 XL? How does it come from the manufacturer? What sights?
I'm gonna have to get co-witness sights for those. Gotcha. Those just come with standard low profile sights. So which we need to look at.
Dawson?
Yeah, I don't know if Dawson has anything for 365. I'll look.
I haven't seen anything.
And Dawson Precision Sights, folks, we're a dealer for them for a reason. Folks, get rid of those 3-dot sights. I got another video on that.
Well,
3-dot.
Go ahead. Sorry.
3-dot sights. Get a blacked out rear with that fiber optic front. Or if you already have like a tritium sight or something in the front, something nice and bright, that's going to grab your eyes' attention. Just get rid of that 2-dot on the rear. Put something in there black, and you will shoot. You'll be surprised at how much better you shoot. You'll be surprised, especially shooting on the move and doing all the things that you would have to do in a real world encounter. You'll be surprised at the performance difference. So that's one of the things we do in our level 2 handguns. We have people shoot on the move. We talk about the things you should do if you're in a. We teach tactics. We don't just teach how to shoot a gun. We actually teach you how to fight with a gun. And being able to shoot while moving is a critical skill. So, anyways, and that really shows up. A lot of these things that translate to real world, like how bad 3-dot sights are in a real world situation, don't show up when you're standing static on a range and you're not under any stress and you're lining up your little 3 sights. But the eye is drawn to contrast and movement, color contrast and movement. And under stress, or if you're moving around or anything like that, if you're in a dynamic environment, those 3-dot sights screw you up more than you can ever imagine. So, anyways, that's my sermon on that. Sermon on the Mount. What other questions we got?
Bending ballistics. Vortex sent him their Venom pistol red dot.
Yeah, I definitely want to do some testing on some of the Vortex stuff too. There's lots of great companies coming out with they've gone a long way with red dot sights in general. Forever Trijicon was the big boy on the block, and they need to make some major headway and innovation if they're going to stay there, because they've already gotten their market eaten up, and it's hard to justify. It's hard to justify an RMR costing what it does, and it is not nearly as good as most of those Hollow Suns. Just optically, if you look through one of those compared to one of the Hollow Suns, that's less than half the price. Just the glass is so much clearer and nicer. The reticle is clearer and nicer. You got a choice of reticle. Guess what? If you need to change the battery, you don't have to completely uninstall the device, put the battery on the bottom. It's like a red dot from the 1800s. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. Trijicon, get your shit together.
Oh.
What else? Willie.
Still has a factory 3-dot. Yeah, well, we can get you some Dawson sights.
Yeah, and again, the Apex triggers too, folks. They're easy to install with the new 2.0s. They were a nightmare on the original MPs, but the new ones are super easy. And obviously, if you're trading Glocks, you can pull that thing out, throw it back in, and you're pretty much good to go. There's nothing to change out the Apex on the Glocks. What are some other gear items that you guys are interested in that we haven't really discussed or talked about, or maybe we don't carry, that you might be interested in? Make sure you leave those down in the comments, or if you have any questions about those, whether you leave them here or in our YouTube. Also, if you haven't done so already, guys, if you'll hit the like, I know it's kind of the stereotype or cliche or whatever, but it really does help with the algorithm. So we appreciate you guys watching the videos, but liking and commenting really does help push those videos in the algorithm. So we appreciate that. We appreciate you subscribing. Always, of course, hit the bell icon, but also what really pushes that. Subscribers do nothing for the algorithm almost. Hit that like and commenting down there. The more comments we get, the more likes we get, the more that algorithm pushes those.
I didn't know that subscribers didn't really do much.
Yeah, it used to. Hulk smash. That's right. I got to come up with some other cliche term. Smash that like button, brah. God, I hate you too.
They wanted the bore rod carriers coming back. We can get them in.
We can get those in.
It's just not something that
we don't sell a lot of them. We used to have like with our first initial order, we ordered several of them.
We have one still sitting there.
That one's mine.
I know.
Don't you give Ronaldo my bore carrier.
Ronaldo, you need a bore carrier, a carrier.
Cleaning rod carrier. Anyways,
whatever.
We can get those for you. That's not an issue. We had ordered a bunch. They took forever to sell. But if you want one of those, we can definitely get a few more in. That's not a big deal.
I think most people just usually have the custom case where they put the rod in with their rifle, and that's kind of Gary's whole thing too. Is every custom case he designs with the foam, there's a slot to keep that rod with your rifle, and yeah.
And other people do some other things too. Like I've seen people build out PVC pipe carriers.
Mm-hmm. Those Vortex carriers are really nice, though.
They are really nice.
Yeah.
They're really nice. Go grab that one real quick.
Super nice quality.
Yeah. So there's that.
This is the large one for several rods.
It'll hold 4 rods, I believe. So this is what Ronaldo's talking about.
Yeah, well, this is not a great way to show this, but
I don't have my overhead cam tonight.
We also don't have a sound and camera guy.
Yep.
Yeah, 4 rods.
So that'll carry 4 rods. I don't know if you can see the 4 separate holes, but again, it keeps all your rods straight and pretty and keeps them from getting damaged.
Yeah.
And summer hits me with that sometimes.
It's lots of fun.
What else we got? Gripes, complaints?
Not about me.
About Gary?
Oh, Ronaldo says he'll give you a call for.
Sounds good, Ronaldo. We'll get you taken care of. There was something else I was going to talk about.
Oh,
I am curious. What are you guys using for laser rangefinders? For those of you been in ballistics, you do a lot of long range. What are you using for laser rangefinders? It's one of those things that.
Yours is what, a SIG?
I got a couple different ones. I have a SIG and I have a Bushnell, and I'll tell you that SIG was pretty expensive, and I got the least. I get the least consistent results out of that. I end up having to break out my $400 Bushnell that'll lays out to like 1,200 yards.
Yeah, even when I'm using that SIG, when you have me lays targets for you, it's like every time I hit the button, obviously it's probably user error. I know, right? Mm-hmm. Every time I hit the button, it's a different distance. Whatever.
You're hitting the button wrong. There's one button.
Will you be able to tell the difference with the Apex triggers from the MP version 1 version?
Absolutely. Now, you just got to be careful with so there's really a couple of versions in between the original. So I bought like the original M&P when it first came out, very first. And that has a different sear housing block that is not compatible with the Apex triggers, period.
Yeah, you bought that in 2007.
Yeah. So now the ones that came out like 2008, 2009, they came with a better designed sear housing block that is compatible. So you might want to check on that and just make sure that yours is compatible. I'd have to actually pull it out and look at it to be able to tell, but I don't know what serial numbers those are or whatever. So maybe you can reach out to Smith & Wesson, or maybe it's easy to look up online. But you got to be careful with that, because if it's one of the early original MPs, it won't be compatible with that particular trigger.
Willie said, is Bergara on the list of rifles that will be tested?
It is.
We have a video. It was basically more of an unboxing.
Yeah, they got a new rifle. I forgot which one it is. I actually just talked to them. So we reached out to Bergara. We might have talked to Seekins Precision. So got some goodies. Do you do UK? We don't, Andrew.
Yeah.
There's just so much hassle.
International shipping is
with international shipping that the juice ain't worth the squeeze, unfortunately.
Even sometimes with shipping in the United States, and
even shipping to Canada and things like heck, shipping to Colorado or California. Look, if you guys are in Colorado, California, New York, and where else? Illinois.
Massachusetts.
And you go on our website and you order high capacity magazines that I'll rephrase that to be more politically correct. Standard capacity magazines that are illegal. We're not shipping it to you, bro. Like,
I always check.
We're gonna cancel the order.
Area, if there's any questions.
You can't get that. That's why you're ordering from us.
And
nice try. And look, I applaud. I would have a whole
list of websites
supply.
To try.
Yeah, I mean that'd be me. There's no doubt about it.
No.
But we can't ship there, so don't do that. What
Sorry,
else?
I'm not going to jail for you. MG42 versus the SIG P210, which is better for hunting quail?
You're out of my realm, bro. Nick, I'm assuming these are shotguns. I don't know. Remington 870. Go with that.
For quail?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a Bushnell Yardage Pro rangefinder. I got it used, and it's good so far. I haven't ranged over. Yeah, I'd be interested to see where that push. I have the Bushnell Elite. Man, that thing has been good out to about 1,200 yards.
We've had that a long time.
A really long time. I didn't pay that much. I think I paid $700-800 for it at the time. I think you can get a lot cheaper now. I think it's like $400 or $500. But I paid a bunch of money for that SIG. Whatever. It's that one right there.
I saw the bill on that, and then I was like, "What?"
Yeah, we actually had 3 sons, and we had to trade him for his rangefinder. It was worth it though. He was a turd.
I'd trade you in.
He was a turd.
Yep.
What else we got? Folks, training. Whether it's with us or somebody else, make sure you guys are getting some training. People, you'd be surprised at how getting some formal training from people that know what they're doing, right? That have real experience, whether it's military. Folks, training.
Sorry, your video automatically popped up. I was trying to look up something for you.
Went right in my ear balls. It almost blew in my eardrums. You'd be surprised at what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know, and I'm telling you, we have very experienced clients come through courses all the time, and they always leave with something. And again, we love sharing those experiences too. We love to hear a lot of different things, whether it's new gear, whether it's new techniques, whether it's sometimes all about learning what not to do. But again, make sure you guys, training has to be a major component. It can't just be the gear all the time.
Yeah.
And that's really what all this channel is about. Like, I get it. And that's why we started the YouTube channel as a platform for preaching that message. I'm going to lure you in with the gear, and whether it's with us or somebody else, constantly pushing you to train. So make sure you're doing that. What else we got?
Willie's got a good point. Training also gets you into the awesome alumni Facebook group. I will say, I'm sorry if I hurt anyone's feelings. I apologize, but there's a lot of people that do not know what the word alumni means.
It is Latin, I think, right? Latin, Spanish,
no,
French.
It's not Spanish.
I think it's French.
Alumni means you have been a student of that school.
Yeah.
So please don't request the alumni page if you have not been to any of our classes.
Again, I applaud the effort.
Come to the class. You'll enjoy the class, and then you can have access to the all-elusive alumni page.
All-elusive?
Yeah.
Exclusive?
All-elusive and exclusive.
It's elusive and exclusive.
Elusive
It's like Bigfoot.
It's elusive for the people that haven't come to training.
Well, that's true. It's true.
I know the proper use of words, Gary. Thanks.
I know. I'm sorry.
Ballistic app.
Man, I love
rangefinder.
applied ballistics. I know. I paid for that a long time ago. I still got it. It's what I end up using. There are some variables that are in that are accounted for that are not accounted for in some of the free ones. And again, I can't think of some of the other ones right now off the top of my head. My brain's not working on 15 minutes of sleep. But there's a lot of good free ones that are going to do 99%. If you're not shooting over a mile, those things are going to do everything that you need them to do. So lots of good apps out there. But I definitely like the applied ballistics. And I'll tell you, folks, I highly recommend Brian Litt's the applied ballistics books.
Yeah, we have those.
Those, number one, there's information in there that he's done with testing that you won't get anywhere else. And the way that he explains all this stuff, as Summer has already pointed out tonight, I'm not very bright, but he really does. And again, I am kind of a nerd when it comes to external ballistics to begin with, but so I'm generally interested. But I will say he has written those books in a way that is very palatable, that it's enjoyable to read. And they're just good information, and he'll he starts pulling stuff out that you've never even thought of before. I love his whole explanation about twist rates. I found that to be one of the first time I heard that, talking about different twist rates and the way that he talks about those. I'm trying to think of the term. Again, brain's not working. But point is what they're finding is that some of these the traditional twist rates on bullets are really slow. And we're starting to see faster twist rates. And the reason they've been slow in the past is because bullet manufacturing, they could only create a concentric jacket that was only so concentric and wasn't perfect. So basically, that bullet would be more stabilized given a grain and given a caliber, would be more stabilized if it was actually spun faster. For instance, very common is 308. 1 in 10 versus, and they're saying that, hey, 1 in 8 is better depending on the bullet. So if the bullet is manufactured to a higher standard, much more precisely machined, and the jacketing can handle that spin rate, because what happens is some of those are not truly balanced, if you will. So they start spinning fast enough, they start wobbling all over the place, and they'll actually just break apart in mid-flight. But anyways, that's just one example. There's so much in those books, and every time I open those books and read through them, and I need to do it again, I learn something new. And they explain concepts that I'm aware of and I kind of understand, but they explain it in a way and they illustrate it in a way that makes it easy to understand a much deeper understanding of external ballistics in general. So if you haven't got those books, those are a really good read. And, even if you're not into guns, those are actually really interesting books to read too. Summer, I love you.
Somebody appreciates me.
Yeah.
He likes
I
me.
do too, baby.
Most of the time.
She puts up with me.
Yeah.
What else we got going on? Again, I'm excited about long range tomorrow. It's always a little bit nerve-wracking. We haven't trained there. New management, new kind of setup. It's our first training day out there. I've went out there several times to kind of plan and prepare. And as you can imagine, though, you don't know what's going to happen until you get on the ground and deal with the real-world variables. But so it's always a little nerve-wracking getting to the first course. It always goes smooth, but it doesn't keep me from being concerned about how smoothly things are going to go and how perfectly I planned it out. It never goes to plan, but it always goes smoothly, right? Mm-hmm. So we're looking forward to that. Morgan Spencer, it's good to see you, man. Brian Litz, Litz, Bryan. He is actually the founder of Applied Ballistics. He was literally a aerospace engineer, a rocket scientist. There we go. All right. So just a little bit about Brian Litz. Brian Litz earned his aerospace engineering degree from Pennsylvania State University in 2002. For the next 6 years, he worked for the Air Force on air-to-air missile design, modeling, and simulation. 2008, Brian became the chief ballistician for Berger Bullets. Brian is also very active and successful long-range shooter and having won numerous regional, national, and international championships. From what I understand, Brian got into long-range shooting, and he started looking at the ballistic coefficients that were posted on all the boxes, and he was like, no, not even close. And so he actually started he was one of the first I know to start doing Doppler radar testing on actual bullets in flight, whereas all of these bullet designs were strictly built on models, and the ballistic coefficient that was attached to them was based on computer modeling with a lot of bad information going in, so a lot of bad information coming out.
So no real testing.
No applied testing, right? So very exaggerated BCs were coming out, and he was also, was it the G7? He came out with a whole new BC rating, the G7, which is much more accurate than you will see. I think it's the old G2 or maybe even G1. I forget. But anyways, he brought a lot of science to the industry and a lot of facts to the industry, right? And really started holding manufacturers' feet to the fire and saying, hey, you know what, that ballistic coefficient you're printing ain't legit. And it just kind of went on from there. But, basically, from what I understand, just looking at bullets and just seeing what's going on with them downrange, he realized that at the beginning of it. So that's, from what I understand, that was kind of his dipping his toe into the bullet industry, if you will, and then he just went on from there and started really diving into this, and now he's kind of like the industry leader and standard for what goes on and how those things are calculated and modeled out using real world testing. So good stuff there.
Yep.
I never heard of her, so I'm sure it's good. I never heard of Ryan Klecker. I'm sure it's great.
Yeah. Speaking of long range, we got a lot of prep to do.
Yep, we do, folks. Hey, listen, folks, we really appreciate you guys tuning in. And this was kind of, we've been kind of scatterbrained all day doing a whole bunch of other things, everything from YouTube to prepping. I've been cleaning guns all day long, getting ready for tomorrow's course. We still got a trailer to clean up and stuff like that, but we really appreciate you guys tuning in. And again, we were going to try to do this every Friday as much as we possibly can. But we appreciate the support. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you have some other topics, always feel free to email me of things that you guys want to talk about. And of course, again, this whole thing is all about being driven by you, the viewers. So whatever questions, comments, wherever you want to take it, whether we're talking about shooting blanks or making kids or, whatever. It's fine. It's all on the table.
We seem to have the most fun when people are just asking questions and we're just kind of hanging out, chit-chatting.
Like I said, next weekend, Lord willing, the creek don't rise. We're going to have the Cornish Viking on. I'm excited about this. I think he's a very interesting person. Got a lot of sweet guns. And anyway, so if you don't follow him on Instagram, you should check that out. Cornish Viking on Instagram. That's where I know him from. Never talked to the guy. We've exchanged some messages. And I just always find his feed fascinating, and also just the gun culture in the UK and Europe in general. So I think that's really interesting. I think it'd be fun to have him on and talk live. And Nick, I'd love to have you on. My email is gary@paramountTactical.com.
Just posting it right now. Trying to.
You got to hit enter.
I did.
Got to hit enter.
I did.
If I make it to the long range course tomorrow without getting murdered, I'm doing all right. I'd love to have you on, Nick. I'd love to talk in depth about some of the design features on the. I love that rifle. You guys did such a great job with that. And anyways, folks, we really appreciate your time. We appreciate you tuning in. Hope we kept you entertained. Hope you learned something. And again, we always appreciate the support. If there's something not on our website that you'd like to see on our website, let us know. And we're continuing to build and add to that. We just got an MDT. We are now an MDT Modular Driven Technologies dealer. So we have our first order in with that. We already got some orders for that. Those will be going out very soon.
Monday.
There's also a bunch of, what was another one that we just got?
Thunder Beast,
MDT. And we got some more companies that we're going to be partnering with too. So we're going to continue to build that up. We want to be your source for all your guns and gear. And we also want to be your source for real information, right? We're going to be always shoot you straight. Again, I was very hesitant to get in this whole YouTube thing. I think most of these YouTubers are farces, whether it's the lack of experience or whatever else, or just the fact that they're shills. And that is something that I refuse to do or to be. So any of these reviews that you see us do, I'm going to try to do them as candidly and as honest and as thorough as I possibly can. So we're going to continue to do that. One of the big things that that I'm going to build on is that definitive review. And anything that we do a definitive review, we're going to do that all the way from A to Z, try to hit everything. And obviously that's something that'll evolve too. We'll continue to add things like on the optics. We'll make sure that we're doing a low light test on those. That is a very valid. Anyways, so again, we want to be your source for information, and we're going to make sure that we're always true to you and honest with you. And if we find something wrong with the product after we've raved about it, we're also going to bring that to the table as well. Everything's on the table.
Yep.
What did BK Panther say down there?
You tried the MDT bullpup bolt action chassis.
I have not, but I do have an MDT chassis. We got a Remington 700 back here, Remington 700P. So with a traditional stock, it's still a great gun. It's 308. One of the first rifles that we bought for the business. And I actually had that rifle before, and it had gotten stolen before. Somebody broke into our old house in North Carolina. But the point being is that it's still a great gun, but it has a traditional chassis on it. And a lot of times we get students behind there and they're trying to mess around. So anyways, I got a chassis. We're going to do a video on that, of taking that traditional stock off, putting that into a modern chassis that is adjustable so that students can get down there. And that's something that a lot of people have. They have a lot of great guns, but they have some of these outdated chassis or these outdated stocks. At MDT and a lot of other companies, MPA is another one, that they just make it super simple to take a good rifle barrel in action and put it into a stock and or a chassis and completely update that rifle. So we'll do some stuff on that. I'll look into that particular bullpup. I have a little bit of I'm very hesitant bolt guns, or really even bullpups in general. Man, and it probably doesn't matter if it's here or here. If it blows up, it's probably going to take half your face with it either way. But that is my only hesitancy when it comes to bullpups is, if and when something does go wrong, you're
right here.
All the juicy stuff is right here, and it's going to get it. So, anyways, we'll look into that. But interesting design. Anyways, folks. Now I'm babbling. I appreciate you guys. We love y'all. And if you need anything from us, you have our email. We're always accessible, email or phone. Give us a call. Send us an email. We'll try to answer it and be responsive. But until next time, stay armed, stay ready, and we'll talk to you soon. We got to go prep for a course.
Yes. Good night.